So good morning all. We'll start now because it's all been there for last 10 minutes we've been waiting for. Guess everyone
Good
can
morning.
hear me
Yes,
clearly. Okay, no problem. Thanks to the net connections. Last 3 4 days it was giving a lot of problems. And all over the world also there was a problem. Anyone faced it? Internet problems last 2 3 days? No problem, sir.
Yes, sir. I have faced. Act has been down for a couple of hours yesterday.
That's what I was saying. Like it's not only for India, it's for every other country. So there was something problems on the internet. Now it's been solved, I guess, because from the morning, I'm not seeing any problems at all. It's running perfectly. Okay, so for us, so today we will talk about that CCNP enterprise certification. Enterprise, the last year they have changed all the certifications as well. Cisco has changed everything because CCNA they clubbed everything to that CCNA. Only one exam it has been available for that. Whatever the track you are going to do that, either it is a wireless, a service provider, or data center, or just normal routing and switching, or security. Every different certifications are there in CCNA itself, and they clubbed it together just as a one certificate. Then they introduced something called as a specialist. Then you can go for some kind of a CCNP on this. So as of when you complete that one core exam on the CCNP, then you'll go for the one of the electives, something there is a subject is there. Anyone you can pick it up. Once you finish that, you've been given like a CCNP as well as you can even like you can go up, apply for the CCIE laboratory. So there is a drastically there are so many things has been changed on the certification side in this Cisco. So this why they changed because of the current market looks for the people who should be knowing about programmability. That is nothing but an automation and the programmability is required. That was not at all there in the previous Cisco certifications. They were never able to touch anything on this. So they are looking for only on the people who are trained on Cisco boxes, Cisco commands, and all the open layer protocols as well as the EIGRP protocols. Then MPLS and other stuff, MPLS TE, there is a traffic engineering. Like that, the technology based, they've been keep on running on that, but they have this set of development engineers who will be sitting down and developing in the in-house on Cisco itself. And it's a completely a proprietary OS, means an operating system. It is an inter-networking operating system. It is a completely proprietary. Nobody can open and see that what is there inside. If you're a Cisco employee, you can see that. That's a different issue. I got a chance to see all these things. What is how the code is running on that when I was in Cisco, because I was supporting the bigger ISPs like AT&T, Sprint, Reduno, Tata VSNL, Reliance, like that. Many companies were there. Like in all ISPs, I used to support them. So that time we are in a position to see that coding. It's possible that I can see the source code of that, but I will not be able to edit anything on that. Development engineers will be editing on that. But now, what is the current situation has come up in the last 3 4 years in the sense everything is becoming open source. Open source is there for last 30 years. Whenever there is a Linux has been started, there is an open source environment has been come up. Because in the 90s, Linux has been introduced with an open source. Completely, anyone can download the source code and they can modify that and they can run their own boxes as well with their own names. It's possible. So that was like completely changed. That changed a lot of things on the operating system side because people are not, depend on the Sun Solaris or IBM Unix or HP Unix or something. They went for Linux boxes as well. That changed the entire environment on the OS industry, and it was completely free and there is no maintenance as such. You can run it on any platform. Means like a hardware platform you can run it on. So that wouldn't be a bigger problem as such. Amazon has got the same problems like that in the later earlier 2000s and all. They are about to close the company, but they switch back to the open source Linux on this. So they're surviving, and they are the number $1 billion company now. It is $1 trillion company, I can say. Because of that open source only, they gain the market level and they come up to this much level on this one. So That was in the OS only. It was running on an OS, and there are some applications which are available on that OS only that was free. Like many applications whichever we are using, the PowerPoint, normal applications I'm talking about, PowerPoint and Word and other Excel and other things and all. Though those were free, like a LibreOffice you can have, OpenOffice you can have, Oracle Office something is there. So many things has come up. Even database also we have the MariaDB, MySQL. Like every other applications has been come up within like open source. But what was the problem is in that people are looking for that whether we can go for a production based like that, because if there is anything goes wrong, then who is there to support us? Authorized support. Who can give the authorized support? The company which is producing that particular equipment or a software or a box or something, they only can give authorized support because they have the in-house people who can support the code level as well as on the hardware level problems and all can be solved on that. But that is been removed actually, been in the sense what like if it is coming as an open source, but nobody is there to own anything, and everyone will be giving any other solutions like that. Any solutions they will be giving it, you just need to go and try it out everything. It will be taking a lot of time, and you'll be wasting your time on that, and the customer will start shouting on that. So this was the problems, and but later it has got like streamlined, and many other companies have started acquiring this. Like Red Hat has taken that Linux, and they started running on the Red Hat Linux like that. CentOS Linux is there, Ubuntu Linux is there. A lot of Linux boxes are there. So the support is not a problem for OS level. So they try to make the same kind of an environment on the networking platform also. Because networking major in the sense, Cisco started the company on 80s. And the people have split from Cisco and they started something called Juniper in next 10 years or something. And there are many other companies like HP has come up, and Brocade, and Extreme Switches, like many companies are there. Dell and Intel has got some network platform things, and a lot of thousands of Chinese companies are there. Huawei, I can say, there is a very big major who is challenging the Cisco market on it. Huawei. Huawei is good in the not only in the wireless, they are good in the networking things also, because it was a tough competition with the Huawei and this in the networking industry on this and networking boxes, I can just say. So our concern is about that. So the certifications which were given by the Cisco were not reflecting anything on the programmability and automation things. So because I done my CCIE and other things and all, maybe like 10 years before or something. So that time nothing was there. We are not about to touch anything on the software. Software in the sense, I'm not going to do any kind of a coding or something. I will not write any kind of an applications or I'll not write any kind of a program or something like that in that to control my control plane or data plane and the switches or in the routers or in firewalls. Cisco making the firewalls, ASAs. And now there is a firepower and other things has come. So nothing we are about to touch anything on the code level. So now what is because of the world is completely changed, everything is coming up like completely on the programming things also required, and automation has come up because of the cloud industry has come up so heavily. So automation has come up so very much in a good demand, so that people are looking for people who should be having the automation software code writing and the programmable things code writing and everything. But now what it's been made, like previously there were two set of engineers. One is an engineer sorry he will be doing only the support job. Support job in the sense he'll be logging into that devices of the customers devices, and he will troubleshoot anything, some other problem, configuration mistakes or hardware failure, like some bug is hitting or something like that. So they will be doing only this, and they will report back to the development engineers on the product based companies. And the development engineers will be sitting and done, and they will fix it up everything, and they'll give the solution, either hardware or a software accordingly will go and give it to the customer like that. This was a two persons sitting separate, and they will doing their own profiles like that, completely separate one. Now what is the market trend has been there, that both the people has to be clubbed as a one guy. He should be doing the troubleshooting also, he should be doing the coding also. So the responsibility has been increased for a person who is becoming a network engineer. Not only network engineer, if you are a system administrator, you should know the scripting. Means either Linux admin or Windows admin, you require Windows admin means you require a PowerShell scripting. If you are a Linux admin in the sense, you require a shell scripting and other things now. And again, the automation has come up. Now we are talking about Ansible and like the Jenkins and other things. Automation tools are there. that we require. DevOps has come up like anything. But because these are all come up because of the cloud service providers has been in the market, and every other devices whichever it has been installed is on the cloud. And in the cloud, which we never know that whether it is an appliance, it's a hardware box or a software is running on that, which we don't have any idea. Most of the things like that we are picking up the like an automated kind of a it's like an OS something like that. We are just installing on the it's already been ready hardware something like that. We are just putting on that. So what the product based companies will be doing, they'll be creating their own equipments. They'll be designing their own motherboards, RAMs, and other things and applications and everything, and they'll put it in a box and they'll fill it up. But the current trend is like that the box buyers are not there in the market. They are looking for a solutions. You put any box, you put anything, but I would like to have, this is what going to be my output should be there. So the cloud has come in the market. So cloud, we are going to do everything on that because we are not logging into any devices in the cloud. We will be logging into kind of in DevOps like that. Some of the containers and another we are just running on this. Even your router can run in a container. Yeah, that's what is happening now. Cisco router can run in a container, and the Nexus boxes can run it in a container. And you can do all your voice solutions on a container. It's possible. So everything is running on a container based, and your web server is running, and your database servers are running. So everything has been coming like running is on a container in the sense it's very easy. Like it's like a blade server we used to call it as later, previously, sorry. So those blade servers need to be controlled in the sense you just need to write some programs for that. So that is being in the market now. So now all the Cisco certifications, whatever you do, either CCNA or NP or IE or architect level, that is the last level. If you go for that, this automation programmability has been introduced to that. So that's why Cisco has changed every other certification to reflect all the changes which is required for the local, the current market trend is that because the people need to be properly certified for that. So they can go to the market and they can start doing some programs as well as doing the troubleshooting, as well as they can implement some plans or projects or something like. So this is the new certification which is offering. Actually, if you do that now, it's really good because people who are certified earlier, they are not like they don't know anything about the coding and automations and programming stuff and other things. So now the responsibility has been increased for an engineer to become a either support engineer or a coder. So there is no it's like a hybrid person. You should be knowing the coding also. You just need to get down to the codes and you just need to go and correct it. Else you just need to do some kind of replacements on the hardware side. Like that is what been expected from a person. So in responsibility increased, when the responsibility is increasing in the sense you should have that skill set in you that you will be able to get hired by the companies which are now offering the jobs for you. So how will you get hired? What are the requirements for the person? Earlier we tried to apply for any if it's a L1 person, he is just having a 1 year experience on that. If we trying something for another company or something, they look for if it's a network platform, they'll ask for like, are you CCNA certified? CCNA certified in the sense he will be doing some routing and switching. He'll be configuring some certain routers and switches, VLAN creations, inter VLAN routings, and a little bit of OSPF and the EHRP configuration. This much he knows. And he can able to console it out and he can find out all the logs and he can analyze it. That was the expectation from the 1 year or 2 year experience person. Now that's been completely changed. And the same person of the 2 years experience should be knowing about the automation tools and he should be knowing about some other coding also. So in CCNA itself, it's been introduced. The new CCNA 301 some exam is there. That has been introduced with the new kind of automation programmability is also been there. Maybe like I didn't see that anybody coming back and tell me that in exams it has been asked or something. Maybe like they'll be asking. But in the interviews we are asking. Okay, that's what I want to say that. Maybe like exams may not reflect the chapters which are coming from the automation and programmability, but that is been asked in the every other interviews as well. How many, what are the codings you must be knowing? Like that's what you will ask. How about all the automation tools you know that? How much you are good in the DevOps tools? What are the applications which you know, which you will be knowing? What are the tools you know on the DevOps like? Automation, at least in the automation side, we are not expecting that you'll be writing the code directly. Straightly on the first day itself, you'll be writing the code for to make the things or something. But you should be in a position to understand the code. What's written? What will be the output for that? How the flow is going on? what is actually been achieved by this code. So this analytical, this kind of an analysis has to be done by the person. So later part of the career, he will be start writing the code on his own. Still, many other companies are having the people who are writing the codes and people who are executing the codes. Means like that two separate things are still existing. But in the down the line, you will not be able to see that the two kind of layers will not be there. There will be just one layer. So we are in a position to get ourselves ready for to be on any kind of a profile which is given to us, like not only in system admin, not only in network admin, not only in a database admin, like not only just a log analysis and the creations of the tickets and other things. Everyone should be in a position to understand the coding and automation tools on this. So that is what been expected from the person who is trying to apply for the jobs in the networking industry. Also, I'm telling you know, like you may be doing in next to couple of years or something like that, you'll start writing the code. You start wondering about that, how I know this coding or like, because it is mandatory. You should be start learning that. You cannot just omit that. We will not be able to run set of commands which has been already given by Cisco to run it in the boxes or something. It is not expected. So that kind of, like the PPDs or the PDF copies of the command list, which has been the cheat sheets, we'll call it as, that is available everywhere. Anyone can pull it up and they can start running the commands. That is not been required. That is what I'm telling. So that is very easy for anyone to run the commands and find out the outputs and they can analyze it. But you are get back to the code and finding out what went wrong, why it is not working, which it is broken. When it is talking to the different vendor equipment, where it is getting breaking, something like that. So we are in that level of understanding. So we should be prepared in that level so that our future jobs can be secured. So ultimately, everyone wants to make money. Making money in the sense you just need to have all the skills in yourself. The skills has to be there. So we are going to talk about something on the new CCNP certification today. That is an enterprise certification. In this enterprise certification, anyway, somebody is showing me the videos and all. It's not required. Videos are not required. Thank you very much. Please close it out. And let me make this as a bigger. F5 and goes off. Enterprise certification. Let us talk about some of the market trend on this. Technology skills are changing fast. 90% of the CEOs say digital technologies are disrupting their companies. What is the digital technology? That is nothing but the DevOps and the tools and the automation. That is what disrupting the companies. Because earlier, if you buy one Cisco router, it will run for minimum 10 years without any problems. And if you buy a firewall from Cisco, it is going to run for everywhere, anywhere. And you are just buying some kind of Dell machine or compact machine, you just install it over Windows Server in a sense. You don't require to maintain so heavily. You can have one or two shifts, people who can maintain that. Now, because of the cloud technology has come up, nothing is in on premises. Everything has been moving towards the cloud. So when you try to acquire, when you try to hire the people, they should be knowing about the cloud. They should know about the coding, and they should be knowing about that the equipments or the database which is running is there, not invisible. It's in somewhere, it's in the Hong Kong or Singapore, or maybe in US somewhere in the data centers it has been there. So people are having very much of an anxiety. Where is my resources? How do I access that? How secure is that? That is what the line they are saying, the disrupting their companies. This is the word that they are using. And 70% of the CEOs say their organizations don't have the skills to adapt perfectly. Whoever has been hired last 3-4 years back, they are not equipped to meet the requirements of current market trend. So then what to do? They need to get trained internally, and there is education cost will be there. Else, you just ask the employees to go and get trained outside, and you will be paying for the people to get certified on that. And how good at the certifications and all. Now certifications can be done by anyone. Like there are so many dumps are available, and other means also are available. So you cannot believe a person if he is certified in the sense he can do all the job what is required on the production. That is also another thing. Next, 80% of the professionals say they lack the skills necessary for both current and future jobs. That is what the problem is. Because of the certifications which are there, yeah, somebody is pinging. Other things also available. What is that? Faisal Elias. What is other things? Okay, okay. Yeah, I know that. You understand that. Okay, nice, Faisal. Okay, thank you. So 80% of the professionals say they lack the skills necessary for both current and future job. Future job, you just leave it. First of all, whether you can able to fit into the environment currently in your organization, you don't. I know that because I myself has got lot of problems and we couldn't able to solve the issues even though I'm experiencing very heavily because we are in a position to upgrade our skills and there is also time is very short. You may have to learn the things within 10 days, within 15 days because the customer doesn't give much more time for you to implement that. Else they will be switching back the project to some other company. So project managers and the normal managers and the engineers, L3s, L1, L2s, everyone is in a pressure. So this is what the problem is like when you are not equipping yourself with the new technologies like a coding, automation, and other things, you are not going to get future job, and as well as you are not going to stay in the current job itself. Next, networking roles are following the suite. Network automation and programming has been in the focus for 70% of the Cisco certified network engineers for 3 years. That's what we require to know about the network automation and programming. That's what I'm saying. Please start learning the Ansible. Minimum Ansible is required for you. I can tell you. Minimum Ansible. Ansible is a very easier tool to learn. You don't require any programming skills to know about the Ansible. It's very easier to learn and you can do on your own itself. There are so many videos are there in the YouTube, so freely they are giving it. And with the GNS3, we can able to automate everything and we can learn something on this. Currently, we are implementing the Ansible for report generations and a little bit of configuration management as well. We are doing for Ansible. And Ansible can work with any vendor equipment also. That is the most important thing. We can manage Juniper, I can manage Dell, I can manage Cisco, I can manage Nexus, and I can manage whatever the boxes which are there in the market. Even firewalls also I can manage it as an Ansible. Okay. Job growth for the software developers will rise 24% from 2016 to 26. Somebody's pinging. Some people say you need Python skills for Ansible. Python skills are basic skills. I can just say basic it is required because we try to implement that Python automation because it is most of a scientific knowledge, scientific language it is. People doesn't understand at all. It is very harder Python. Python skills in the sense if you can work on Python, it's nice that you can come back to the Ansible. It's nice but it is Python is very it is not very much implemented in anywhere because many of my projects we are not doing Python, we are doing only Ansible on this. And the job growth for software developers will rise by 24% in 2016 to 26. You see that software developers are increasing 25%. Yes. And most valued professional will serve at the key intersections of the digital solutions. DevOps collaboration will require senior IT pros to understand the programming. Everything will be done by the seniors only. Hmm? What the seniors are, like jumped from the sky award. They can't do anything here. Everybody is coming from the same, like the path only. How you started as an L1, I started as an L1, the same way. And how the senior will be acquiring every other skills which is required for current market trend. It has to be growing like that's what we've been asking the people as an L1, L2 guys. Start learning the coding skills. That will be helping you when you're coming as a senior. Okay. Next, two things in an organization will demand intent-based networking and the technical talent to harness it. 1,000+ larger enterprises will deploy intent-based networking systems by 2020. New IT skills will empower the networks with the multi-domain solutions, APIs. APIs is nothing but application programming interface and the programmability. So this everything is revolving around the coding and programming and automations and other things. Even network industry also fall in that same category. Organizations must have confidence in their staff. 64% of the managers agree staff must routinely access learning to perform their jobs. This is what everybody is breaking the heads. we need to acquire more skills. We need to upgrade ourselves. We need to upgrade about the current technologies in the market, because the job which has been done by the set of 20 people or something as an L1 is been done by around a 3 to 4 code. I can just write one small code that will be done all the management on this. Means log analysis and other thing can be done by the report generations or can be done by the Ansible. Just one code is enough. Just a small program is enough for me. So that is what we are getting replaced. Why we are getting replaced? Because of we are not equipped with that. And we need to have the learning things also. Like if you would like to stick to the job, you should start learning about the automations and the programming things around. And 59% of the certified employees deliver a higher quality of service. 99% of the organizations use certifications to make hiring decisions. See that? Just only 1%. I don't know who is that person, but 99% of the organizations, I see every other HR is asking only certification. Whether you are having the skills or not doesn't make any sense at all. Are you CCIE certified? Are you CCNP certified? Are you Palo Alto certified? What is the certification make sense here? The person doesn't work. He doesn't know what to do, how to log in, how to console it, and how to run the commands on this one. They are just say, I'm certified. I'm certified. They hiring based on the certifications, and the people doesn't know anything. Then again, they require a training inside. Anyway, but certificates bring the jobs for you. That you think about that. Just only learning the skills doesn't make any sense. If you do good in the interviews, it's okay. But ultimately, HR will make the decisions based on certifications only. Your resume will be put to the first priority when you are showing the emblems of the companies which are providing the certification. AWS, Cisco, Microsoft Azure, like DevOps, some other DevOps certification, Kubernetes they are asking now. So like 99% of the organizations are looking for that, and 78% of the tech execs and managers believe certifications are critical to success. Definitely, because you don't get a job only, right? So we require a certification to come into the getting the job or just switching the job. That is more important. You can stay in a company without doing any certification, but there is a lot of pressure will be around that. And if you like to switch your job, you require certification definitely. Next, as the technology is advancing, businesses will connect applications, devices, and people via the cloud and mobile devices. It's already been there. Software and networking are becoming more intertwined as a result. That means technology professionals that like you need broader skills and more specialization. We are just having only one brain here. How much you can put it inside? Okay, those who can bridge the networking and software development divide will be in a great demand than ever. This is very important. See that? This line is so beautiful. Let me annotate this. Yeah. Those who can bridge the networking and the software development divide. What is the dividing? Development and networking people. Because the networking guys never like any programming at all. They just hate it like me only, everyone else. But those people who are bridging the gaps will be in a great demand than ever. That is what I'm telling. We need to learn more skills on software development. Next. Technology areas that include, we are coming about to the CCNP level certifications on this. CCNP level certifications are given in 2 plus 2, 4 plus 1, 5. There are 5 technologies we can go for that. One is enterprise, another one is a data center, that is a collaboration, security, and service provider. Where is the wireless? Okay, wireless has been included in the enterprise itself. Like so, CCNP enterprise we can go, CCNP data center we can go, CCNP collaboration, that is a voice and other things, CCNP security, CCNP service provider. Service provider, you require to work on MPLS and TE and QoS and other things. Enterprise, we can go with the normal switching and routing, and as well as extra MPLS chapters are there. Data center, you just need to learn all the Nexus boxes as well. There is a lot of coding in there involved. Collaboration is a very bigger thing because people looking for a lot of voice engineers and other people as well. So let us go to that. Software and networking grow more and more interconnected every day. Intent-based networking connects the users, devices, apps, security, intent, and policy. Multi-domain solutions, cross-enterprise, data center, service provider, and security. API and programmability drive new automation, agility, and scale. So these are all the software industries which are going on. To capitalize these opportunities, today's IT professionals need broader range of core skills, deeper focus in their areas of expertise, software development and programmability skills. That has been put anyway. That's why CCNP certifications are customizable with only 2 exams. The core exam covers some topics that apply across the technology, including automation and programmability. The concentration exam, that is an elective exam, covers a focus area of your choice in that technology. Technology areas include enterprise data center security, service provider, and collaboration. New CCNP exams have any formal prerequisites. You no longer need an associate level certification to qualify for CCNP. And you can take your exams in any order. It's possible. You don't require any CCNA certificate, certified and numbers and other things not required. You can directly come to the CCNP. That's what has been told. Every CCNP core and concentration exam earns an individual specialist certification. You see that? You can earn as many as specialist certifications in many technology areas you like. CCNP core exams also serve as a qualifying exam for CCI lab exams. Yes, you read that right. Earning CCNP certification means that the only thing between the you and CCI is passing the lab exam. So previously, like you need to clear the CCNA to come to the CCNP, and the CCNP, all 3 papers you need to clear that. Then you are given awarded with the CCNP certification. Then you will be looking for a CCIE certifications. And but from earlier onwards, CCIE doesn't require any prerequisites, but we go through this proper way. But here what they say, they broke everything now. CCNA is not required for CCNP. An entire CCNP, you don't need to do that. If you're just doing one paper, you will be given as a specialist certification. And the core exam, if you clear that, you can directly go to the CCA lab exam. So many fluctuations, what is that? Flexible things are there in this. And that means the 4 great things will happen when you earn CCNP. You have CCNP certification, which hiring managers love, definitely. You have a core specialist certification, definitely. And you have another specialist certification from your concentration exam for a total 3 certifications. You are qualified to take the CCA lab exam in your own technology area. Beautiful. So there are so many advantages of that. That's what they are saying. Did you mention that hiring managers love certified candidates? Yes. 78% of the technology executives and managers consider technical certifications a critical success factor. 99% of the organizations use certification to make hiring decisions. It is I can say 100% I can say. But this is also like some of the engineers, some of the managers require you need to clear this exam so and so within 3 months, 4 months, something like that. They will give some targets for that. Somebody's pinging. Is there any upgrade path for old CCNP people? Like I have given switch and architecture exam will be counted in a new upgrade path. There is a link is there. I will give it to you, Faisal. There is a link is there. In that link, you can choose the exam which you already cleared, which will give you the path to take the new exam, or you are already been qualified or something. In the Cisco, there is a one. In the Cisco side, there is a link is there. I'll give you upgrade path and other things. So you will get your all answers will be get cleared on that. Don't worry, I'll give you that. At the end of this, demo, I'll just give it to you. Okay, then next we will see on show the value, know your stuff with a high value certification, customize your certification within your technical focus, position yourself for advancement in the fast-paced world of information technology, add automation skills to your areas of expertise. These are all like, this is like they are just promoting their certification because it's like a sales promotion like that. Okay. Earn a specialist certification for passing any CCNP exam or core or concentration. Quality for CCA lab exams by passing CCNP core exams. Link that CCNP certification badge to all your social media profiles. So social media and we will put that. Okay, anyway, we'll be putting it in our resume definitely. So by seeing that logos only, we are getting the interviews. That's definitely we will be always doing that. Okay, introducing the CCNP Enterprise Certification Program. Let me read out this. Software and networking becoming more and more interconnected every day. Technology advances are enabling new applications and businesses that connect everything, people, devices, machines, and applications. And with intent-based networking, organizations can take advantage of automation to scale and secure their networking infrastructure. To capitalize on these opportunities, today's network professionals need a broader range of skills and deeper focus on strategic technology areas. The CCNP Enterprise Certification Program gives you exactly the breadth and depth. We designed CCNP Enterprise, we means Cisco Enterprise Certification to help you prove your skills in the ever-changing landscape of enterprise network technologies. The certification covers core technologies and an enterprise focus area on your choice. You choose where you want to focus, you choose where to take your career. Among the industry's most widely recognized and respected certifications, CCNP sets you apart. It tells you the world that you know you are doing. And in addition, completing any CCNP certification exam earns you Cisco Specialist certification. So you get recognized for your accomplishments along the way. Okay. What are the benefits? Show the world you know the stuff, customize your certification, position yourself for advancement, add network automation skills. This is important. Earn a specialist certification, qualify for CCI Enterprise Lab exam, link that CCNP certification badge to your all social media profile. These are all the benefits you get that when you go for a CCNP enterprise level certification. Earning your enterprise certification, what all things required? We require a core exam. This is a core exam. Let me take my pen. Okay. This core exam has to be written 350-401 NCORE. NCORE is nothing but implementing and operating Cisco Enterprise Network Core Technologies. That is called NCORE. So this NCORE will also make you qualifying exam for CCIE's enterprise certification. Passing this exam help towards earning both of these certifications. Just clear this. That's enough for you. So you can have CCIE also, you can go directly, or you can have a specialist as such, you can keep it. Else, then you can go for some specializations here. Specializations, what all there? Implementing Cisco Enterprise Advanced Routing and Services in RC, implementing SD-WAN solutions, it's very important, ENS DWI, designing Cisco Enterprise Network, it's ENSLD, designing Cisco Enterprise Wireless Network, it's here, WLSD, implementing Cisco Enterprise Wireless Network, WLSI, automating and programming for enterprise solutions, NATO, like that. Any one of them you can take that. See, if you like to get certified as the CCNP, so what you need to do, you need to take the 350-401. It's a compulsory, you just need to clear. If you're stopping there, you will be given as a specialist and you can directly go to the CCIE. That's a different path. And you wanted a CCNP, then you need to take at least one of this, any one of this. So I will offer for this one because it's very easy, because we can go with the things which we know that advanced routing and test services. But SD-WAN solution also you can take, our designing enterprise networks. You can see that. So what is the requirement? CCNP enterprise, you need to pass. You pass 2 exams, a core exam and a concentration exam. This is a must. You have to take this. Then any one of this. So you choose this. It's very easy. 2 exams, if you clear that, you are a CCNP and you are a specialist and you are ready to go for CCIE also. Next. What all things covered in the NCORE, that is a core level certification. Outline, it's just an outline I've given. There is a PDF copy is there. I can just give you the link. You can go through that all. But I just, like try to say that what I'll outline on the certification topics. Examining Cisco Enterprise Network Architecture, who is pinging. Okay, it's like old days where electives were also covering the other tracks of CCNP. So it is also that way, new track of certification. Yes, exactly. Correct. So here the outline is like examining Cisco Enterprise Network Architecture, understanding the Cisco switching path. Switch is also there here. Implementing campus LAN connectivity, building redundant switch topology, implementing layer 2 port aggregation, LACP, PAGP and other things will come. Understanding HRP, implementing OSPF, optimizing OSPF, exploring EBGP, implementing network redundancy, that is a HSR, PVR, PGL, BP, other things will come. Implementing NAT, static NAT, dynamic NAT, and port address translations, those will come. Private addressing, private public addressing will come up. Introducing the virtualization protocols and techniques. Here you got to catch. Understanding the virtual private networks and interfaces, that is a VPNs. Normally we conducted with that IPsec tunnels and all will create. Understanding the wireless principles, it is there. Examining wireless deployment options, understanding the wireless roaming and location services, examining wireless AP operations, understanding wireless client authentication, troubleshooting wireless connectivity, introducing multicast protocols, introducing QoS, implementing network services, network analysis tools, infrastructure security, secure access control, enterprise network security architecture, DNA center, SD access solutions. Then what is the last? Understanding and working principles of SD-WAN solution, understanding the basics of Python programming. So you got that. You got the Python. It's come here. Network programmability protocols. We manage. That we go with that. Introducing APIs in Cisco DNS Center and API programming. So it is a very good exam. If you just take that, you will have so many things. You have, see, I can just tell you, this is more of routing. Routing is already been there. Then wireless, right? Sorry, then switching is there. We have switching. Then wireless is there. And then we have a security is also there, right? Then we have application and programmability is also been there. So many things which we are doing that here. So it is a very good certification. From my point of view, I can just see that there are so many things are covered. Somebody is pinging. They didn't mention anything about the Ansible. Ansible in the sense of programmability protocols. I'm just saying that network programmability protocols is there, right? There you'll be seeing, that's what I said. There is a PDF copy is there. I'll just give it to you, like you can go through that. What all things are covered on that. They talk about Chef, Puppet and Ansible and other things. But Ansible, you just need to take it as a different course, okay? It's not so easy that you can learn it in 1 or 2 days. It requires 10 to 15 days. You just need to concentrate and make up your skills on the codings and how Ansible is working in that way like that. You just need to understand. Okay, the next one, implementing enterprise advanced routing and services, NRC. This is one of the elective exam. In the elective exam model, we are seeing that it's completely like a routing, and I can just say MPLS only. So it's easy. Implementing DMVPNs and all. You see that EAGRP is there completely, and OSPF, then BGP. Okay, and redistribution path control and other things has come. Exploring MPLS, completely MPLS. Then it is a DMVPN, we know that stuff. DSCP and all small, and IPv6. Then you have securing things and other things. So it's easier when you clear your core level exam of the previous one. Then you can clear this this also, like it's easier because here we have wireless routing, switching, security, programming, and everything has been there. So here you have QoS also. Then here it's something extra. You're going to do that. MPLS has been given as like a more MPLS VPN architecture and other things. So once you've done this, then you will have a complete solutions in your hand. You have completely, you're ready for it to go to your CCIE level or something. And we come up to the last, the slide, which I would like to show it to you. Okay. If you like to have any kind of a sessions or trainings, if you are looking for any kind of a solution, not only for Cisco, for any other things as well, because I'm much equipped with many other technologies as well in my mind. So I can take up that lot of the training for you, the sessions. One-on-one is also not a problem. And you can contact me on my WhatsApp number, and you can call me, and you can send me an email. And you can watch my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my channel and like it out so that I can get some more crowd to be coming up. So I will be talking about Cisco routing and switching, wireless, and security, and firewalls, and cloud technologies. Everything I am talking about that. So if you have any questions in your mind regarding these sessions and other things, you can ask me. I am ready to answer that now. Let me open up that chat window. Faisal was asking a lot of questions. Some other people also, you can unmute your mic and you can talk to me, not a problem. I can answer your questions. And I would like to show you a small BGP connections on the GNS3. So let me start the GNS3 side by side, let it get started on its own. And if you have any doubts in your mind, and if you'd like to do any kind of a certifications on your side, and you wanted to go for the next level certifications or something, or if you have any doubts on this. And Faisal was asking about that, path which he would like to go for. Cisco CCNP path. What is that? Let me see this. Something will come up. I can show you this. There was a tool, I was just seeing that, and all the certifications were there. I'll show you that. Here, something. This is NP Enterprise. This is what I was telling you all these things to you people. This case came up. Okay. Prove your skills, enterprise solutions and other things. Exam, recertify and we use certification policy. No, not that one. Frequently asked questions. Okay, let me see this one, new certification and training program. This is the next level it is going on. I just seen one of the link, like how to go for recertification. Let me see. I seen that link yesterday. I guess I forgot it. Training policy update, 3-year certification program, continuing education. Let me see what is this one. Maybe it will be giving you lifelong continuing education for flexibility, recertification, continuing education portal. Maybe that will be taken to some other. We have some, no, not this one. Global certifications. Item authoring, live training, I don't know where it went. Oh, it's gone to the on this. Let's go to the training and certifications. Let's see.
There, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can tell me yes.
Yeah. At the previous tab, it was like a certification tracking or something. There was a link written there. Maybe
Certification
it will be
tracking.
the one.
Exams. Let me see. Schedule an exam training catalog, locator, popular tools. Let me go here. Training, certification program, training catalogs, subscriptions, modeling there. Networking Academy. No, it's going somewhere. I know. Certifications. Recertify. This was you're talking about?
No, there was a different link. It was written somewhere that.
Let me try it out in the Google itself. That will be easier. Cisco cert migration. It's here. Let me see this. Migration tools. Let me see. If it gives, it's nice. Here it is. So Faisal was asking about routing switching, right? Okay, let me go to this routing switching migration tool. So which are the exams you cleared? Faisal, you can unmute your phone and you can talk.
Switch.
Only switch. So this is about 2020 they are talking. So to earn new CCNP's enterprise certification, you need to take these exams. Core exam has to be taken. One of this has to be taken.
So nothing changed, huh?
No, no way. You have to go for again the same thing. Like if I do route, let me see. You received already, so you don't need anything like that. So if you have cleared the route and switch, you are a specialist now. You don't need to take it. But again, if it is 3 years validity, something is there. If it is 3-year validity within that, if you have gone for any other further certification, you don't need to do that. But if it's expired already in the sense, you need to go to the path again, same path. If I take all three, so you received a new CCNP certification for this specialist certification, something like that. It's nice, no? It's good. On February 24, 2020, Cisco released a new certification exam. In the new program, you received a credit for to work completed legacy. So legacy, they call it as a legacy, older one. So after 24 means 2020, after 24, you have to go this like. So you clear only switch in the sense you require to clear. Encore should be cleared and one of these things should be clear. This is a migration tool. It's a good one. So you can go to the migration tool and you can verify. It's nice. So I guess my ACC, my GNS3 has been started. Okay. VM is not started. Huh? It's already started. No. So let me create one small BGP thing, which I will show it to you. BGP RR. Let me do BGP RR. Let me do the route reflector assembly. So Kiran, I guess how you configured that, I can show it to you like that, not an issue. So in the edit button, you just need to do the preferences and other things. And
sir, I did few months ago. I don't remember.
okay.
In laptop I have did, but after creating few virtual machines, so my system got hanged. So I cannot able to work on it. So I want to reinstall in my personal system,
No
which
problem.
has 32 GB of RAM right now. So I
Mhm.
can extend up to 64 also. So I would like to install in my system.
Okay. We will do that, no problems. So let me take the 7200. So I'll take 3 plus 2, 5. I'll take that. So I'll keep the R1 here and R2 here, R3, R4, and R5. Like this, I keep it. So this is going to be like a router reflector. Let me connect the cables on this. In this case, let them go through the serial. And he will also go through the serial only. He is an outside customer, I can take it as. And this I will connect it with the normal fast Ethernet only. 00 I will connect. And this one I will connect it with 01 I will connect. Okay. Let me pull these guys on outside so that we can see the label properly. Let me just label it out. S10 and S10. He is also S10. F00, F00. So what I would like to do on this one, I'm going to configure the BGP. eBGP only I'll be configuring this, and IBGP also I'll be configuring this. So let me make it out like that. Here it's going to be, let make small, like it's easy for you to understand. Make a duplicate and I'll put it on this. So this is, and this all the guys will be sitting in same similar autonomous like that. It's simple because JNS3 I find it simple. Some people are doing with the EvenG, something is there. I didn't try that. You can try that also. EvenG also many people are using that. So my idea is that I'm just going to make this as an autonomous system as a 50 because it's R5 and this autonomous system as an 10. And this R2, R3, R4 are in the same autonomous system. That is nothing but AS234 because the router is 234. That's why. So what I will be doing that I'll be creating a loopback address here and I'll be creating a loopback address here. The normal connectivity will be established on this. So here and here it will be ABGP connection. R1 and R2 will be having the ABGP connections. Let me write down. It's a EBGP connection and here also it will be an ABGP connection. ABGP. It's an ABGP connection on this. So let me make this case on this. Yeah. Okay. Now, so here it is an IBGP connection. In this one, it's going to be completely IBGP connection. IBGP, and here also it's an IBGP. So R2, R3, R4 will have IBGP connection, internal BGP connections, because they are in the same AS number. R5 will be in the external BGP connection, that is a 50, and R1 will be on 10, that is an external BGP because the AS number is 10. So let me start all these things. Oh, sorry, I need to start first, then I can console it. Okay, now it's everything is getting started. You can see that R1, R2, R3, R4 here. You can just see It may take some time for all the 5 routers to, working on this, because I'm just seeing that the CPU is 100% is hiking. Maybe you will not be able to hear my voice also because my PC is completely choked up. It'll reduce. Now you see 1.6 only. 15% is the RAM used. And this is RAM not CPU. It's my own CPU that is used 28% and the RAM is about 8%. This will also get reduced once it is, streamlined and everything. So in the meantime, I will give the IP addressing scheme for this guys. 10.12.1.0. This is how I'll always use that. 1, 2, that is a 12. Copy that. And these guys will be having off like 10, 23, 11, 23, like this. These are all on 1023. And here I will do 1024 I will have it. Sorry, 34 I will have it, because router is R2, R3 and R4. So R4 and R5 will be having the 45. Let me make it up here. So it will be 45. It's a 45. Means I will be keeping like 10, 12, 1.1 will be on S0 on R1. 10, 12, 1, 2 will be on R2. Like that I will be keeping. Like, it's a simple one. So now things are, I guess, streamlined. There is no much, like activity here. I'll just go for consoling all the 5 routers. It will be starting up now. It will not take much time, so I wanted to show that. Doing okay. Only R2 has come. I need to start other routers also. If I click that, it may be coming. Yeah, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, all are coming. So first R2, I'll close it. Is with the solar putty, this is giving the problems always. Okay. Otherwise, you can use a normal putty also. But I am using this one because it's easy for me that the tabs are there. It's very easy for me to go with the tabs. Okay, let me configure this R1 first. Interface loopback 0, IP address 1.1.1.1 with the 24-bit mask. I'll give it. Then I'll go with the RESON 0. IP will be 10.12.1.1. Again, 24-bit mask. No shutdown. Let me finish the BGP configuration also here so that we'll go to the other routers as well. Like, okay, router BGP 10. I'll use it because of the AS10 I'm using that here. I'll advertise all the networks here. 1.1.1.0 mask. If I'm putting the class full, I don't need to put the mask. If it is a class less, I need to put the mask information in BGP configuration. Network 10.12.1.0 mask 255.255.250. The networks are advertised. I just need to talk about the neighbors now. Neighbor will be like, I would like to do it through the, like serial IP of the next box. Actually, we don't do that. We will be doing it through the loopback updates only. It's just a small demo, so I'm just doing this. 10.12.1.2 and the remote AS. Remote AS is going to be 234. And EBGP multi-op, if you like, you can give it. Otherwise, you can leave it. So that's it, over. Because this guy has got only one neighbor. So let me go through these connections again. Let BRI. So this is down because the other side is not up. This is up. Anyway, let me show you the BGP configuration. Begin BGP. It's only showing the BGP configuration. You can see router BGP 10, network 1110 with the mask, network 10.12.1.0 with the mask. Remote AS is just given as a neighbor. Neighbor I advertised on this. Let me go to the R2. Here also I will configure the loopback 222 and the S10. Let me configure that first. 10.12.1.2. Instead of typing always, I'll just copy this and I paste it. It will be easy for me. Then I have to configure the FA00 also. Means this FA00 is starting down. So 10.23.1 will be the IP. IP address 10.23.11. Mask is pasted. Easy. So now I did the interface configurations. Now I will do the router BGP configuration, protocol activation. 234 is my local AS. Network I will advertise it as a 2220 mask. And the network I'll try again with the 10.12.1.0 mask. Same thing. Let me even use it Amparo also, it's easier. But as a learner, you should start typing everything. It's nice for you. Okay, then I will specify the neighbor. 10.12.1.1 is R1 and the remote AS is going to be 10. Then I can just say BGP. Then I have to specify the another neighbor also, means R3 neighbor also I have to specify this guy. So the next IP will be 10.23.1.2. Let me, so he's already up. You see that BGP is up already. So let me specify the other neighbor also, 10.23.1.2 remote AS. 0 is always coming, 2, 3, 4 only. Here I don't require an eBGP because this neighbor of R3 will be on same AS only. It's an iBGP connection. So my configuration is over here. Let me show you the IP addressing DRI. So fast Ethernet is up and serial is also up. Loopback is always up. Show run section BGP I can do. It's simple. So what I configure on R2 is like network I specified, 3 networks. Prefixes I configured it. And the neighbor as R1 neighbor is a 10.12.1.1 is remote ASS 10. R3 is nothing but a 10.23.1.2, 2.3.4 I configured. Let me go to the R3 now. R3 is the router which is staying in middle. He is in middle. So he is making the iBGP connections between the R2 and R3. I have to configure R3 now. Terminal interface, loopback 0, IP address 333. It's easy because then I'll configure FA00. Here doesn't have any serial addresses, but it's got only 10.23.1.2 and a mask. Like mask is not copied. No shutdown. Then FA01, I guess. I guess it is FA01 only. Yeah, okay. Then FA01 will be like 10.34.11. That will be the IP. No shutdown. Then directly I'll go for a BGP configurator 2, 3, 4. I should not forget this because everyone is in the same AS now. Network 3330 mask. Then network 10.12, not 12 here. It is 2310 mask. Then 10.34.10. Then I have to specify 2 neighbors for that because R2 is also a neighbor, R3, R4 is also a neighbor. So neighbor 10.23.11 remote AS 234, same AS number only. Then I have to do the 34.1.2, same AS. I did that, finished. Show IP interface brief, I will show you. It's a 10.23.1.2, 10.34, all are up, and this is also up. You see that R2 is up now. So show run section BGP, I'll just give it. So it's here, that's what. Network, local networks I advertised here with the proper masking, else you will not be able to see the prefixes coming up. If you're not advertising with the proper mask, what is configured on the interface, we will not get it in the BGP table or we will not get it in the routing table also. So both are the iBGP neighbors only, I just given the same number. AS number is same. So let us go to the R4. R4 has got a connectivity to R3 iBGP as well as R5 eBGP. There are 2 connections I need to configure. Interface loopback 0, IP address it's a 444. 4 is missing. Oh, sorry. And 255. Interface FA10, IP will be 10.34.1.2. What is happening? What's happening? Sorry, FA01 I had to configure. It was a wrong interface number. 0/1. Then 34.1.2 is taken. No shutdown. Then I had to configure the serial also now. IP address 10.45.11. Let me paste it, no shutdown. Then I'll go to the router BGP 234. That's a local BGP is 234 only. Network 444.0 mask. Paste it. Network 10.45.1.0 mask. And 10.34 I need to do. Then only R3 and R4 will talk. 34. Now I need to specify the neighbors. 10.34.1.1 remote AS will be 234 only. It's the same AS. And here I need to change the AS number. 1.2 I'll do it. 45 1.2. Then I'll just do the BGP and then write. So in R4 what I did, I configured these IPs. Okay, I just seen that whether recording is started. Okay, it's going on. Okay, now so this serial is down now because the R5 is still not configured. That's why. See, you see that this has come up. R3 has come up now. Let me show run section. In the R4, 3 networks I advertised. 44 is a loopback. 1034 is a which is having the connectivity to the R3. 1045 is nothing but connectivity to the R5, and I specified the neighbors accordingly. So job is done in R4. Let me go to the R5.
So can you once show in R3 show BGP neighbor?
It's here. You can see that?
Okay. Yeah, yes.
2 neighbors are there. R2 as well as R3. This is R2. This is R3. 2 neighbors are there. They are in same AS number only.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
Okay. Now let me go to the R5. I'll configure this interface loopback 0, IP address 555. Then I have to configure only one interface, that is a serial 10.45.1.2. 1.2 because one is given already there in the R4. Let me configure the BGP. Here the BGP AS number is 50. Network need to be specified. Network 10.45.1.0 mask. Then I have to specify the neighbor. Sorry, neighbor need to be specified. Only one neighbor for this guy. 10.45.1.1 remote AS is 234 and the BGP in the right. Done. Show IP interface brief. I'll show it to you here. So R5 has got only one interface serial that has been up now, and loopback is also up. Let me show the BGP section BGP. There's one local network and serial network. It's also up. So now I have given the 234 is my neighbor, peer AS, and he's having the eBGP connections on this. So what is the things now done? Every configuration has been done now. And what is the loopback address of this R1 is nothing but 1.1.1.1/24. And the loopback address of this R5 is 5.5.5.5/24. What I'm going to verify that whether this one is reaching here, and moreover whether this 5 is reaching there. That I wanted to verify that. Let me go back to R1. Let me check all the basic BGP commands first. BGP summary. Show IP BGP summary. My neighbor is up. R2 is up and running for last 8 minutes. Let me see the BGP tables. BGP table I want to see that. In the BGP table, I am seeing only the 1.0 that is R1, 2.0 that is R2, 3.0 that is R3. And I'm not seeing R4 and R5 here. You see that 1012 is a serial network, 1023 fast Ethernet, 1034. Until this much is going. After that, R4 and R5 is completely not there in the BGP table itself. If BGP is not understanding the prefixes which are advertised, it will not appear in the routing table as well. Let me show you the routing table. It's not there at all. You see that 4 and 5 is not there. We are seeing only 1, 2, 3. Got it? Same, I will check it out in the R5. Show IP BGP summary. It's up for last 2 minutes near about. It's up with the R4 neighbor. Local AS number is 50. Router identifier is all 5. And is pairing with eBGP pairing has been done now. So what I see, I will see the BGP table. I see the 3 is there, 4 is there, 5 is there. 5 is local, 4 is R4, 3 is R3. Where is R2 and R1? R2, R1. We specified the loopback addresses as 111.222.333 like that. So 2 is not there here. Why it is not there? How do we troubleshoot this? Let me go to the R3. Everyone is connected. That's why these things are coming. So let me go to the central router, this router. R3 I will go. I'll check it up here like show IP BGP summary. This guy should be having 2 ways. Yes, definitely. R2 is neighbored for 8 minutes. R4 is neighbor for 5 minutes. Let me see the show IP BGP table. In R3, I am having all the entries. You see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 23, 34, 45. Everything is there. You see that? Everything is there. If I see the routing table, everything is there. One route, it's learned through the BGP. 2, BGP. 3, directly connected. 4 is BGP. 5 is BGP. But why R3 is not giving to the R2? Even if you see it in R2, things will not be there as such. See that? 1, 2, 3 is there, 4, 5 is not there. R3 is not giving to R2 as well as R4 also. See, I'll show IP BGP. See that 1, 2 is not here at all. So what could be the reason for this? Anyone can answer that? Somebody who is preparing BGP? Kiran, I guess you can answer that. Huh? Is it possible?
So, because for BGP, for eBGP, they will directly share the routing table. For IBGP, they will not share it. I think.
IBGP is not sharing. If the IBGP is not sharing, then R4 will not advertise anything to R3. No, R3 is having about R4. Okay, R4 network and see R4 network.
Yes. For from R1 to I think R1 details are not available, right, in R4.
Yes. See that R1 details are not there in R4. Sorry.
Yes, I forgot about that. It's been a long time.
So if R4 is not getting about the details on R1, means the prefixes are not received by the R4 about the R1, it will not give it to the eBGP neighbor. That's why we are not able to see that in the R5. There is nothing about the news about this. And let me go back to the R5 now. Let me try again the same command. Even after half an hour also nothing is happening. It's only 3, 4, 5 is there. 1, 2 is missing. Same in R1, 4, 5 is missing. Why is it missing? What is the problem? Why things are not given? But R3 is having everything. You see that R3 is having everything. Let me show you. R3 is having everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the things are there. When I try to trace or ping or something, it will go timeout from R5 to R1 if I'm reaching. It will not work out at all. Anyone? How many are there in the meeting? 6, 8 people are there. Answer me, yeah.
Sir, is it because in R4, since it is coming from IBGP, it is not sharing the external network?
Right.
So for R3, it is coming from R2. For R2, R1 is an external network, right? So there is something that I
okay.
So completely, I completely forgot. It's been almost 1 year.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? Faisal was there. Faisal has done some switching, routing, and something like that. You can answer that.
Yeah, switching, but not to the routing one. But BGP is the major part that I didn't touch.
So it's just escaping like that. Okay. Anyway, so I can give you the answer.
Is it like EGP routes received, I mean, they will not be advertised to EGP.
Why? What is the reason for that?
For IGP routers will give the will advertise the EGP. IGP will advertise EGP router table.
Can I make a wild guess, because what I understand is from
Okay.
I am in office also, so I have a divided
Hmm.
concentration into it.
Okay.
Because I think there are two other autonomous systems, so I think you have to do some sort of, I don't know that particular word, but you have to somehow put the routes into it. I mean, like, is it like that?
Not about route. It's actually what is happening in the sense R3 is learning everything. R4 is perfectly giving the outputs about the R5, and R2 is perfectly giving the prefixes about the R1 to R3, because R3 is sitting in the middle. R3 is sitting in the middle. So he receives everything. But when R3 understands that who is actually advertising about the R5, R5 has got this network 555.0/24 that is coming from the AAs of 50. Okay. When it is giving the AAs of 50, then it is reaches here. Then R4 is advertising this about the 5 to this guy. I learned from this AS 50, and but R3 in a position to advertise this 555 with the prefix of this AS234 only, because this guy is an IBGP. AS234, when he is giving that update about the AS234 with its own AS, this R2 and R4 will reject it. They will not take it out. They think there is some loop is happening on this. With the same AS number, it will definitely reject it. That is a rule on BGP itself. Even though R4 is perfectly picking up the network and giving it to the R3, R2 is picking up the R1 network and giving it to R3, R3 will not be in a position to advertise them to back to the other neighbors as well, because they are having the IBGP neighbor position. So thereby we are having the concept of having the route reflector. It is called as a route reflector. Route reflector in the sense, either we can go for a route reflector or we need to go for a full mesh connections. Full mesh. Full mesh in the sense everyone should be connected to everyone. Now in our topology, everyone is not connecting to everyone. R5 is connecting to R4, and R4, whatever it is learning, it is giving it to it. Same, R2 is connecting to R1, whatever R2 is learning, it is giving it to us. What we need to do, R3 need to be connected to R1 also, R5 also. Okay, R4 should be connected to R1. That is nothing but a full mesh connection. In WAN connectivity, because BGP is mostly used in the WAN only. When you go for a full mesh connectivity on the WAN, it is very costly. You will not be able to do, like building everything on the WAN connections in a full mesh connectivity. It's not possible. What do we do? That is called as a route reflector model. Is there. When I am configuring the route reflector in the sense, these two will be the route reflector client for the R3. Once they become the route reflector clients R2 and R4, they will start learning about this. There are two methods. One is a full mesh we need to configure to know everyone should know about everything. Else we can configure the route reflector. When the route reflector is giving the routing updates or something about the prefixes and other things, other people will start accepting it. Because there is a reflection is happening, that is not a loop is happening like that. They will understand in that way. That's how the BGP has been configured. So what I do, I'll just go to the R3. Let me show you the section BGP. So I just need to.
Sir, is this the concept of redistribution?
Read is not a redistribution. It is like reflecting the routes. It is not redistribution. Otherwise, we need to configure certain kind of a prefix list and we need to redistribute. That is a very high funda. I'm just showing a small one. We can configure a very simple thing, like we can go for route reflector clients. I'll just configure it like neighbor. I need to do it inside the BGP 234 neighbor 1023.11 route reflector clients. Now the connection will go down and it will come up. Now it's come up. The same thing I have to do it for 1034.12 also. He will also go down and I will come up. And the right. Now if I see that show run section BGP, this is the 2 lines which I added extra. Instead of making the full mesh, I am just reflecting the routes from the center point. If I go back to R5, this was the previous picture. 1, 2 was not there here at all. 3, 4, 5 only it's coming. It may take some time, at least 2 to 3 minutes it will take, because everything is running on only one CPU in my PC. It may take heavier time also. See, now you had everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see the difference? 3, 4, 5 was there previously, before router reflector client configuration was done. After doing that, I just have all the routes here. Same, I'll go back to the R1. Show IP BGP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is there. Now, if I give that show IP BGP command, let me see. So this command will give you a lot of information. BGP routing table entry version 14. You can leave this. Path 1 available, best is 1. Not advertised to any peer. It is coming from where? From 234 and 50. You getting that? Origin is IGP. It's an IGP route. IGP means internal something or other. You can take that. So this R1, if you'd like to reach the R1 will be reaching the 555 through 234 first, then 50 like this. Same I can show you here in R5. Show IP BGP 111. I'll pick it up. It will be showing that from 234. Then it can reach 10. Now I do trace route 1111. Source I can do it 5555. This is the exact testing of the router can reach, means any interface can reach the destination network. Through this loopback only we will be testing it. If loopback can reach that, any possible up and running interface can reflect these routes to the clients like this. Now it's showing properly. 104511, I am in R5. It's touched the R2, then R3, then R2, then R1. Same I can try from here. Trace route 5555, source 111. Now it's going. R2, R3, R4, R5. It's reached. I can even see the IP route also. I'll be able to see that. Everything is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same I can see here. Show IP route 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'll do one thing. I will remove that route reflector client and I will show it to you again. That will be easier for you to understand. Let me redo that first one. No. Let it go down. Now it's down. It will be up. Now it's up. Now I'll do the second one. I'm saying no. Now it's down. It's up. What I do, I will go back to the R5 now. Earlier it was having everything. You see that? It was having everything was there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe after it may take 1 or 2 minutes, then I will be seeing that the things are out. See that? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 is not there. I'll go to the R1, then I'll try again. Show IP BGP. Gone. 4, 5 is not there. So what is the wonder which is making up? What is the magic which we done there? It's nothing but the router reflector client which we made. So once you make the router reflector clients, the R2 will welcome the routes whichever it has been advertised by the same AS number neighbor. Whatever it is advertising it, will pick it up because it thinks that it is not a loop. It's a normal route which has been given from router reflector clients. So we are in a position as a designer to know that where we can configure the router reflector client commands. Then you will be able to understand the BGP. BGP has got so many kind of, like these attributes need to get configured, community need to be configured. And like BGP is not so easier, but still some examples we can see on this one. So now everything is out. If I configure back again in R3, I think it will work. BGP 3412. 2311. It's all done. Now, if I go back to the R5, things will get normalized. It may take some time. It will take some time. Please wait. Now it's came. 1, 2, 3, 4 has come. So 5 will also come. 2, 3, 4, 5 has come. So 1 will also come. Take some time, but because a lot of computing happening inside. Both are up. Only for 40 seconds they are up. We may have to wait for a long time also. It will come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have. So same we can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In R1 I am having the 5. In R5 I am having the 1. All of that. So that's a small demo. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me, no problems. I am ready to answer you. And you can talk to me on any about the sessions on this anytime. I am ready to serve you. I can talk about the sessions, even MPLS and other thing, QA stuff also we can work on. No problems. You can talk to me for any kind of a sessions or trainings on this. And if you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can go ahead because it's already 1 hour in doing that.
Condition island.
Sorry. Hello. So any questions on this? Then we can go ahead. Else, I will go ahead and close this meeting. And you can please give me your email addresses. I will send you this recording as well as the PPT also to you. It will be useful to you. In the chat box, you can put all your email addresses. Only email address, numbers are not required. Even if you put numbers also welcome. So any doubts you can ask me. Like we will be seeing many of the BGP scenarios as well. Like in GNS3 itself, we can configure all. No need to worry. Only thing is that if you have 16 GB minimum in your laptop with Windows 10 is required, please make it as Windows 10. Don't come with the 8 or 7 or something. It will be problematic. And VMware Workstation 15, we can take it. Like that. So it's very easy. GNS3 is a free. It's open source, so we can download and we can install it. iOS we can find it very easily because for learning purpose we can get the iOS. And then there are so many, like Google Drives are there, and a Dropbox is there. So many people are, sharing it. So we can pick that up and we can start doing all these things. We are not going to do any kind of a production over here because it's just a learning purpose only. We are doing it. I just see there are 2 people has given. Faisal has given, Anesh has given. People give me the mail addresses. I'll send you this trainings to you. Okay, and about the sessions which are coming up in the next week also, I'll update you in timing. Okay, so I guess no questions from your side. So I guess I can go ahead and close this meeting. If all okay. Thanks all for joining.
Sir, can you help me with GNS installation at your free time?
Yeah, when you want to have it. If you want to have maybe after half an hour, I'm ready.
Yeah, cool with me. I'll be ready after half an hour.
Okay, you can ping me on WhatsApp.
And I need to ask one thing.
Yeah, please. Yes.
Yeah, you said that the electives, they are also like they are getting overlap to other tracks also. But I have seen now all the electives, they are unique to their track. Nothing is being trying to overlap like in old CCNP.
Yeah, it is not overlapping. See, that's what this chart. This 1 second. Let me come back to this. It will show you the clear picture. This one you can see that. You see it? This one will be the nice one. You see that? Enterprise Advanced Routing Services. So this will be easier for you to go along with this core technology because both are talking the same chapters only. But all other things are different. It's an SD-WAN, it's an enterprise networks, it's a wireless, there's enterprise wireless implementing designing. This is an automations like that. Not overlapping, nothing overlapping as such, but here you can have something extra. What you left in the NCORE, NCORE exam, you can have it on this NRC like that. So it'll be easy for you that if you take this two and to clear it. Else you may have to study something completely different one. SD-WAN you'll have to study completely. Enterprise networks, designing. Wireless you need to do all. If you are a wireless professional only, you can understand this because a lot of RF and other thing, frequencies and everything will come up. And wireless concentrators and all, you need to work on that. It depends on like what you choose. That's dependent, but there is nothing overlapping as such. I guess
That's what I saw, because this like a wireless. So this is the elective exam. It is not going to be into any other tracks. So all these exams, they are unique to each track.
Unique, yeah.
And also I have done CCDA. So
Okay.
CCDA also, like, it is I think it's gone. The design track is all gone
No, everything is
in the
out.
new certificate.
That's what they are. Everything they pushing towards automating and programming. See that there is also there here. The last, the designing is also another thing, but whoever is doing the kind of troubleshooting another thing, the person can design. That's what the normal mentality like that. So you don't require any kind of a designing as such as a different or unique or something like that. They just clubbed
They
everything.
previously have a very different track for designing.
Yeah, right. I gone through that, but some people are, but many few takers are the designing. I don't know how many people went for designing exams and all. Everyone look for CCNA normal, and they'll go for CCNP troubleshooting and other things. They go for this, you know. Okay,
Well,
so
thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
okay, thank you very much, and you can get back to me on any time on this numbers and email addresses and all these things. You can watch me on YouTube. I'll be putting this video in just next half an hour, something like that. And you can just watch the earlier things also you can watch it. Please subscribe to that, and please introduce your friends to my channel so they can get many advantages on this. Yeah, somebody's pinging. I'm going for CCI enterprise. Don't we need all electives? See, CCI is everything. Okay, CCI is a complete things. So CCI enterprise means I don't know about the lab. What is the lab and what all the chapters are covered in the lab? I just need to see that. What is the lab blueprint? I need to get that. So suddenly, if they're asking something from a wireless on the CCI enterprise, there will be a problem. The better CCI in the sense you just need to have everything on your. Maybe your in the CCI enterprise and other things you can have the automation also may be there. Program something you just need to write on this. So CCI is completely grayed out because it is very hard to clear that. NP level, we can do it on this, but CCI, let me see that what is the blueprint and what all things will be asked for that. And time to time changing also there in the lab scenario. It is unpredictable completely. Which chapter will be asked, which will not be asked, we will not be having any control on that. So think of it. No. So be prepared. Try to, like what all the electives are there, try to have hands-on on all the electives, not to go for exam, I'm telling, but have some kind of designing skills, wireless skills, automation skills, SD-WAN skills and everything. If you have it, all these things, then you go for that IE so that you will be having much confidence in attending that exam at least. So that's what my advice is from my side, I can say. Anyway, thanks for a nice session today. So I will go ahead and close this meeting. If you have any other questions, you can get back to me on any time on these numbers and the email addresses and all. Thank you very much for all people who joined today, spend their time with me. Okay. Thank you. And I will be ending the meeting now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye all.